Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then. It's match preview time. The M69 Derby Clash then, part 2, is heading to the CBS Arena this weekend. Leicester last time round beat Coventry, the team down the M69. What a game this one is going to be then. What a build-up we've got for you guys tonight as we talk to Ross, who does the Sky Blues Extra. We've got Ken from Sky Blues Fan TV. A bit of 2-on-1 tonight, but yeah, I think I'll handle the pressure enough to see them both out in this one. But no, I'm joking. We're going to get to know the opposition, of course. We're going to go through everything and talk all things Coventry versus Leicester City. Big game at the weekend for both sets of fans, and this one is going to be very intense, of course, but yeah, a game that should be fun and entertaining. Let's have a look in the comments and let's see who's in. Terry's in. How are you, mate? Cason's in. Callum's in. Guys, as always, get involved. Hit the like button if you enjoy the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already. Please do so. Let's get the first guest in then. You'll know Ken from last time when we first did the first game of the season. Ken, how are you, my friend?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you. Yeah, not too bad. I thought we were unlucky that first game of the season, to be fair. I thought we played quite well.
Yeah, very entertaining game, wasn't it, Ken? 20 shots to each of the teams. Gus Hamer's last game for Coventry. But Ken and Dewsbury Hall double put Coventry as a sword, Ken.
Yeah, they did in the end, but you got there in the end. But I thought we played quite well. We didn't disgrace ourselves, so. But we've got a full team now, so it might be a different game Saturday because we've got all our players back fully fit.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. Let's get Ross in. Ross, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, Jack. Good to see you, and good to see you, Ken.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Firstly, Ross, talk to me about the Sky Blues Extra podcast, mate. Obviously, it covers Coventry City. Talk to me about what you do on the podcast.
Well, obviously, we do our preview podcast. We did our big game preview that's available on Spotify yesterday. Obviously, we do our review podcast as well after every game, and in conjunction with our sponsors, Dylan's Brewery and the Sky Blue Tavern, and along with Ken and Miles from Sky Blue Fans TV, we also participate in running the Meet the Player events at the Sky Blue Tavern and hosting those. And we've got another one coming on Tuesday. So I'm hoping the two players who are coming on Tuesday, which I can't reveal who they are, I'm hoping that they might have a couple of goals between them on Saturday and be able to celebrate that on Tuesday.
Yep. Let's not celebrate things too soon, shall we, lads? Ken, talk to me about what you do at Sky Blues TV, mate.
Yeah, very similar to Ross, really. Although we do a YouTube, we do 2 live shows a week on a Thursday and a Sunday on YouTube, so you can see us as well as hear us. And then we do a live stream on match day before kickoff, speaking to the fans as they enter the stadium, up to about 15 minutes before kickoff. So we do really 3 live streams a week, and then we also obviously help out at the. As Ross was saying, at the Meet the Players events at Dylan's Brewery, where we have players coming along to speak to the fans in like a fans forum situation, whereas we both work together, both sections work together in that aspect, and we interview the players on the stage and the fans get to ask the questions. Very good evening it is.
Fantastic. Before we get on to the game, lads, I know you're want to talk about this big one between the two sides. Let's get to know the opposition then. 8th in the Championship, 8 games unbeaten going into Saturday's game, of course, in all competition. Talk to me about your season as a whole, Ken. Obviously, last time we spoke, we was talking about the summer transfer window and all that. How have things gone from a perspective of a Coventry fan so far this season?
Well, we had a bit of a slow start, but even though saying that, we played quite well the first game of the season against Leicester. We still had a few people out injured. Our main player, Callum O'Hare, was still out injured. He was still recovering from a long-term injury from last season. And we had Casey Palmer, who's also missing from that game. So we didn't have a full squad available when the season kicked off. But now we've got a bit of momentum. Certainly the last few months, we've been fantastic, home and away. We seem to be scoring goals as well now, which is good. So it's all looking good, I think. It makes a difference when you choose from your whole squad and you've got all your players available. As I'm sure you know, you've had injuries as well, during the season, and they can put you back a little bit. So, unfortunately, we started slowly, but we've certainly picked up now. We're certainly in prime position now to, push on for playoff place.
Ross, do you want to touch on Coventry this season? Obviously, with Coventry, I always find in the last 2 years, it's always been they'll struggle first half of the season, but then second half they always come good, and then they start fighting for the playoffs. Is that how you? Is that a fair assessment of how you see Coventry in the Championship?
Well, it is, but I think some of that is being due to circumstances. Last season, I mean, it feels like more than just last season, but we obviously had all the issues with the pitch. We were games behind, we were bottom of the table in October, so that was sort of not from our own doing. That was obviously outside factors, and obviously that meant that we were behind. But then we got to this sort of stage, we put a really good run together, and obviously made it into the playoffs, and obviously all the way to the playoff final. And then the couple of seasons before that, the season before that, we'd actually started quite well, and then we tailed off. And the year before was obviously our first year back up, so it was sort of one of consolidation. And I think this season, as sort of Ken touched on, we've had a lot of new players, and when we got to the start of the season, they'd all come in quite late, so they hadn't bedded in, and now they are completely much better and complete players compared to what they were at the start of the season. So I think that's why. I mean, Mark Robbins always said it. He said the results were going to turn. We've got to be patient, and obviously, as much as our fans didn't like hearing that, once again, the king has been proved right.
Yeah. How have you dealt, Ken, without the likes of Jokerex, Hamer leaving in the summer? How have Coventry adapted? Obviously, Haji Wright, I mean, he seems to be banging in the goals for Cov this season. O'Hare, I mean, another good player for Cov, who a lot of players, teams, shall I say, are after Callum O'Hare. How have you found things without Jokerex and Hamer? Is it been difficult, or do you think you found the right players to fit that system now?
I think it's always going to be difficult when you lose your two best players, and they without doubt our two best players, and possibly two of the best players in that league the season before. They were tremendous, and when you take out a 20 goals a season striker, you need to replace him. But I think we're getting there. I mean, I'd say we brought in a lot of new players during the summer. 10 players plus came in, so they took their time bedding in. Haji Wright, he's scoring goals now. He was a bit of a slow starter, but he's getting his feet under the table, if you like, now, and he's certainly putting in the performances we expect of him. And O'Hare, having Callum O'Hare back is like having a new player, to be honest, because we did all that playoff push last year without him, because he got injured. He got injured on Boxing Day, the previous Boxing Day, so he missed out on all the playoff run up last year. So having him back is like having like a new player, and he's just come back stronger, and he's scoring goals now, which is great. So it's like having a new player with Callum back. But yeah, I say the new players that have come in, they took their time bedding in, but I think now we just about got over, and we never get over losing you. Nobody likes selling their best players, but unfortunately, it has to happen sometimes. Every player's got a price, haven't they? As you know, you've sold a few of your good players lately as well, and they have to move on.
Yeah, we have.
And so that's football, but it's who you bring in to replace them, and you need to bring quality in to replace them. And I think we're just about there. So we just signed this other player tonight as well, who sounds quite good. So we'll have to see what he's like. But yeah, I'm quite happy with who they brought in to replace the times that have gone out. So I'm reasonably happy how the season's going so far, and hopefully it will continue.
Ross, talk to me about Mark Robins. 8 games unbeaten in all competition. What has he changed at Coventry? I mean, is it formation? How has he sort of changed it around?
Well, this season it is the change of formation. Obviously, when we played Leicester on the opening day, and for the first quarter of the season or so, we continue with the back five, the wing backs that obviously served us so well last season. I think without Hamer and Gyökeres, I think what it highlighted was actually how much and how important those two players were in making that system work. And they papered over the cracks of probably the flaws of that system, really. We then reverted back. We lost 4 in a row, which was the first time. I can't remember doing that under Mark Robins for seasons, really. Probably last time we did that was when we just got promoted, and obviously we're down in the bottom. But he changed it to a back 4, and all of a sudden, since then, I think in 12 games, it's 6 clean sheets. The defences look considerably better. We've scored more goals. More of the new signings look better in that system than they did in the back 5. And yeah, it's been a great run. And Mark Robins, he always changes it at the right times. He never waits too long. 4 defeats is never good for any manager. And I was a bit fearful that if we lost to Stoke and it had gone to 5, then, despite what he's done, there would be some pressure from certain sections of the fans. But he obviously changed it and he's turned it around, and we're not looking back. So yeah, it's been a great run. And hopefully that continues.
Ken, what's been your thoughts on Leicester City this season?
I thought we've seen like firsthand. Obviously, I was at Leicester the first game of the season, where I thought we were unlucky, but I thought we maybe could have probably got deserved a point at least there at the first game of the season. To be honest, with the chances we had, and okay, Leicester got the 2 goals, but they're a good side. They're a Premiership side. They've come down from the Premier League, so I expected them to be up there. And you've obviously got transfer money as well, which you can use. The parachute payments which you get that we don't, obviously. So you're going to be in a stronger position than us financially. That's always going to happen, and it's always going to be the case. I was impressed with Dewsbury Hall. I thought he was a fantastic player, and we've got to keep an eye on him on Saturday. He seems to be star man at the minute. Now that Maddison's gone, he seems to be the man at the moment. But and they've got some decent players, and they are a lot. You've still got a lot of your Premiership players. Obviously, you've still got Vardy and people like that who's not even playing regular now, is he? Vardy, he seems to be on the bench lately. So I don't know is he somewhat up with him, or is he? You got
he's gone. No, it's just he's got an injury, hasn't he? Obviously. With Vardy, the age that he is now, he's not going to play every single game of the season. You can't rely on him to do so, can you, Ken? When you obviously, he's obviously done what he's done at Leicester City for sure. But yeah, it's been an interesting one with Vardy. Obviously, Tom Cannon coming in as well. He's helped the team. Patson Daka, Iheanacho's been there here and about this season. Talk to me, lads, about the M69 Derby then at the weekend. Part 2, shall we call it? Coventry versus Leicester. We'll start with you, Ross.
Well, obviously, some call it the M69 Derby. I call it the Ross Cooper Derby because I am born in Leicester. I have to admit. So it's going to be a big game. Obviously, a lot of my mum's side of the family are all Leicester season ticket holders. So there's the family sort of bragging rights that are at stake, and a lot of my good friends I went to school with are all Leicester fans as well. So yeah, there's that added spice as well. But I mean, Leicester have obviously been very, very good, and obviously it's going to be a difficult game. And obviously you'd have seen Leicester more than I have, but it seems that a lot of teams who've come unstuck against Leicester have decided that they've been beaten even before the ball's been kicked. I think of Cardiff. Shame on me. Well, hey, what can I say? Yeah, I followed my dad. But you know, I didn't have a choice in the matter. So I'll tell you, 2016 was very tough. That was a moment where I was like, you know, what have you done, Dad? You know, when Leicester won the league. But hey, the suffering times make the better times better. But I do think, I don't know what you think, Jack, watching Leicester, but it seems like sometimes some teams just feel like, you know what, damage limitation before the game's even started, you know, against you.
Yeah, I think that's been most of the teams this season. You obviously hear them come out, don't you? Or Leicester's going to batter us. It's going to be 4s or 5s or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, with a championship, it's always a tough league. You can't take it for granted. And I say this to a lot of the fans. And, you know, this championship, you know, anyone could beat anybody on the day, can't they? You know what I mean? Whether you're at the bottom or you're at the top. This league's difficult. I mean, you obviously get the teams who like to sit back, like your Rotherhams and that, who have come and done so, try and frustrate Leicester for as much part of the game they can. But then it's down. I think since you first played us at the start of the season to now, we've improved quite drastically. We've got better in the positions. The football's more better because when we first played you, kind of like Maresca's first game in it, so we had a lot to get across to the players, a lot to do with the squad to improve it and make it the team that it is. But yeah, I think we've come a long way this season for sure. We do deserve to be top of the table without a shadow of a doubt, but these are the games where fans go for in it. Coventry and Leicester, a lot has been spoke about ahead of this game. But yeah, this one is a game you relish in it. These are the games you test yourselves. Obviously, Coventry will obviously look to come and beat Leicester, shall I put it? You know, both teams be up for this game for sure. But you know, it's about who takes their chances and who wins them one-on-one battles for me. And I think Leicester's got to be at their A game against Coventry for sure. But yeah, it's a tough game. Ken, what about you, mate? What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they're a good side, Leicester. That they're not at the top of the league. And the table don't lie at the end of the day. You're there for a reason, and when you are there, people want to shoot you down, don't they? If you like, especially local rivals. So yeah, we're looking forward to you coming to the CBS, and I think it'll be a cracking game. I really do. I think it's on telly as well, so I think those who are watching on telly should see a great game as well. And I'm really looking forward for us to be tested. You know, put a test in against a really good side. So see how far we've come as well since the first game of the season, because I think we've come a long way as well since then. We've improved. You know, we've got a lot better. You know, since the start of the season. So it'll be interesting. Both teams are, you know, will go for it. I'm sure there'll be goals. I can't see it being 0-0. I'm sure there'll be goals.
I don't think so.
Well, the thing is, Ken, you look at the lineup who played against Leicester on the opening day of the season, and you actually look at it and you go, Josh Eccles was playing right wing back. You had Ben Wilson in goal. You had Latibodier playing left centre back. You had no Liam Kitchen. We hadn't signed him yet. We had Haji Wright had trained for one day. You had Sakamoto on the bench, who's now our MVP, who has to start every game. You know, the team's complete. O'Hare was injured, so I mean, Jamie Allen had a heart condition, so he wasn't in the squad either.
No, that's right.
Our squad has massively changed, and our right wing back, who's like arguably one of the fastest players in the league, he was on the bench as well because he'd only trained for a couple of weeks. So I think as much as Leicester have improved, I think we've massively changed. Obviously, the system has changed as well, and I think the football we're playing is a lot more. It's a lot more direct than it, you know, a bit more like down the wings, and we've got a bit more natural width than what we had earlier in the season. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, you know, it's going to be an interesting game. I was going to ask you how Callum Doyle's doing for you, because he was fantastic for us. I was disappointed he never signed for us, you know, re-signed, but obviously, you know, he knew your manager from his Manchester City days and stuff like that, and he was tremendous for us in that playoff push last year. Wasn't he, Ross? He was a good player for us.
Yeah, very good player. Jack, has he been playing as a left back?
Yeah, he's a left back, isn't he? Obviously, he has had a knee injury this season. he got injured in the Bristol City home game, where knee injury. He had been out quite a few months. He's only just come back. Callum Doyle. We're kind of like bedding him back in again. Obviously, the guy can bloody split a defence like no tomorrow, innit? You know what I mean? He can play them 40-yard passes, and you know, the guy's got potentially. You know, on his with Doyle, it's kind of like you know what you're going to get from him on the day of the game. He could be a fantastic player. On his day, he's magnificent. He's one of the best fullbacks in the league. But you know, if you keep him injury free, you know, and you keep playing him game by game, the consistency and all that, the guy's terrific. The guy gets better game by game, and we've seen that with him. Obviously, you guys seen that with him last season. On the road to the playoffs and that, and then Sunderland seen it the season before. He's an all-round great player. How much Man City will want from him at the end of the season, though, Ken, is the big thing, because
he did sign a long-term deal, I believe, at Man City. So, yeah, it's hard
to kind of like nudge Pep a bit in it and say, you know what, we want your player. Ant says it could have been you. Obviously, Ken, I don't know if you was in with that chant at the start of the season where Coventry started singing it could have been you, Callum Doyle.
Unfortunately, no, I wasn't that. But unfortunately, you do get some fans who don't tend to respect their former players, and a lot of them, you get a few of them booing. People boo, don't they, for whatever reason. Because I thought he was tremendous to us. And at the end of the match, if you watch carefully, I was there right at the end, and he came over. When all the players had gone off the pitch, he was talking to Eccles, and he walked over, and a load of people clapped him, and he clapped back to us, which was good, which was nice.
That's mutual respect, though, isn't it? Obviously,
yeah, that's good.
Could he play at the weekend? Who knows? But yeah, this one's a massive game, isn't it? You know, two rivals. You know, a lot's been talked about, but now it's time to go and do it on the pitch, Ken. Which I think would be an entertaining game. If it's a neutral sort of side of things, then you know they'll enjoy the game for sure. I think it'd be an entertaining game. You know, it could probably be an end-to-end game between the two sides. Both sides want to win the game for sure. I don't think we'd happily settle for a draw. There's a lot at stake. You know, a lot of bragging rights and that between both clubs. But yeah, let's hope we can go and beat you and get them crucial 3 points, because that's what it's about on the day. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it, Ross, on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, the only question I have for you and Leicester is how are you going to deal with, you know, I mean, this season, I think this is, I make it, Ken, our 7th cup final this season. I think.
So you do think it's a cup final? Then?
No. Well, I'm saying I think we've had 7. I think Sunderland said it was a cup final. I think Birmingham said they were a cup final. Yeah. Leicester have said it. I think actually every game's been a cup final by the sounds of it, according to every opposition fan. So, but no, listen, I think it's going to be it's going to be a big game. I think it could go either way. I think. Obviously, you've got danger players. I think Mabadidi is someone who I look at and think the battle between him and Van Avak down sort of our right hand side and your left, I think is going to be crucial. To be fair, I think actually that whole wing, because Sakamoto's on the right as well. So I think that could be a key area as the left, because I think I'm right in thinking that Ricardo steps up into midfield when you have the ball, and then obviously that will leave a bit of space if we can get it to Hadji right down the left with his pace, you know, on the transition. So. Look, it's a big crowd and it's going to be a good game, and we'll see what happens.
If it's a cup final, we'll be fine. We saw Wembley. I think Coventry will see Wembley.
Yeah. Well, we've had enough. I'm hoping that with all these cup finals, we'll be ready if we make the playoffs again. We've had enough practice this season. So
yeah, we have. Yeah.
There we are. Let's have a look at the stats. Let me get the bottom part out of the way. 8th versus 1st, 26 played, 9-21, 10-2. Losses 7-3. We then get on to the key part, boys, which is the championship head-to-head at the CBS Arena. I was gonna call it the Rico, Ken, but you know we've got to get with the times, haven't we?
You have
played 7 in the Championship. This is 1 win for each, 5 draws. I mean,
yeah.
There seems to be a lot of draws when it comes to Leicester and Coventry at the old Rico Arena, should we call it?
Yeah, I do remember a few draws. Maybe we have to put bed to that and try and get 3 points.
Let's have a look at the last 5 results then. Leicester beating you in 2011, 1-0. Lee Peltier with a goal. Both teams went down to 10 men, didn't they, Ken, on that day?
Yes.
1-1 September 2010, October 2009, 1-1 again. Coventry beating us 2-0 in 2008. And 0-0 again. Yeah, this one seems like it's, as some would say, looking at them stats, it's got a draw written all over it, Ross.
Well, I mean, I had a look at my own personal stats, and I've seen 13 matches between Coventry and Leicester, and that one win you saw there, I wasn't at the game, so I've never seen us beat Leicester, ever.
So the first time.
I have 13 games. I have 13 games, 0 wins, like 6 draws, and then the rest are defeats. So, and that's home and away. So, I don't know. I'm not a very good luck charm. I think maybe the gods know that I'm my Leicester sort of, Leicester Royal and Family Birth, and it's trying to do, messing up with it. But I don't know. I think the problem is, I feel like I go into this game probably as confident as I've ever been to think that we've got a chance with our current team. Because you look at some of those fixtures there, even those draws, it felt like, oh, you know what? We're probably maybe slightly lucky to get a draw. Leicester had better teams than us and again, it's typical that this year we've probably got our best Championship squad, and Leicester have got arguably their strongest squad as well. So it's going to be tough, no doubt about it.
Yeah, this is where, like I say, Ken, the key men have got to be at their best, aren't they? The Mavridis, the Sakamotos, the Haji Wrights, the Tom Cannons. Yeah. They're players who you're going to rely on. Then you've got your midfield battles as well. Dewsbury Hall, he's going to have to be his best. Obviously, being a Leicester fan and that, he'll want to get one over on Coventry again after beating you at the King Power Stadium in the 2-1 win with his 2 goals. So, yeah, there's a lot to play for in this game. Let's have a look at the 1-0 win. Lee Peltier with a goal. Was that when David Bell played for you, Ken?
Oh, God, David Bell.
Yeah, David Bell, I think it was, yeah. Yeah, we signed him from Luton. Was it Luton we got him from?
Norwich,
that was it. Yeah.
I believe it was Kasper Schmeichel's debut. I believe. So that makes for an interesting one as well. That's an interesting stat. Let's have a look at foot in both camps. Obviously, we went through this last time, Ken. I've changed it around since the first time we met each other. Matt Heath, Ken. Matt Heath.
He played a few games. Well, he didn't play a lot of games, but he came. I seem to remember he did okay when he was here. And then Cam McAllister I've seen on there. He was obviously fantastic for us. And then obviously you got Madison as well, haven't you? Who played for both teams. Yeah,
McAllister, good for Leicester. Made over 200 appearances for the Foxes. An all-round great player. Ross, Mickey Adams, obviously managed you and played for you as well. What's your thoughts on Mickey Adams?
Yeah, no, I have sort of quite a fond memories of Mickey Adams. My first ever Leicester Coventry game was at Highfield Road, and he was the manager of Leicester, and it's the year Leicester got promoted. And then obviously a couple of years after, he then came to us, and he decided to bring James Scowcroft, Lillian Nallis, and everybody else. He tried to bring his team over, you see. So he did okay, but then as per all the Coventry managers at that point, it then just the wheels came off, and it was sort of. He finished 8th one season, and then we sold Gary McSheffrey, same old story, selling the best players, not replacing them, and then we just went down the pan as per usual. So yeah, he was all right. Mickey Adams, fine.
Yeah.
Leicester boy Dion Dublin. Obviously he came to Leicester on the back end of his career. What was he like at Cov, Ken?
Oh, fantastic, Dion. Yeah, he was a main man. He scored some tremendous goals for us, kept us up on numerous occasions. Yeah. Last day nervous wreck games when we had to go to Tottenham and win and places like that, and we managed to do it. Over the years, he was tremendous for us, absolutely brilliant, and you can't fault him, Dion Dublin. He played up front, and he even played at centre half for us. Remember him playing at centre half, Ross?
I'm not that old, Ken, mate.
I don't remember. Don't you remember?
What are you talking about? That was about 3. No, I'm not that old. How old do you think I am?
No, I thought you would have seen a few videos of him. But anyway,
I've seen videos. Yeah, obviously talking as if I was there.
Anyway, he played up front, obviously mainly for us, but he played at the back as well. He was a great central defender, and he slotted in there on a few occasions. And yeah, he was tremendous.
Ken, how did you feel when he went to the rivals Villa? How did you feel at the time?
Not very good. It was a bit of an acrimonious time. There was a few comments flying about. It didn't go down very well, especially where he went to. Of all places. But as we all know, every player, as we said before, every player's got a price. Something at the end of the day, and they move on. It's a job at the end of the day. We look at it. Fans look at it different, but at the end of the day, it's a job for them, isn't it? And they're moving on to another club, and we see it as a kick in the teeth for us when they move to rivals. But yeah, while he was here, it was brilliant. Can't knock him.
Will the fans be open to away fans, Ken, at the weekend?
Will the what? Sorry.
Terry's asked about the fan zone. Will it be open to away supporters?
Well, the fan zone, I'm not sure if the police will block you coming round, but you can get to it. Yeah, I think it will be. I think you can walk along outside the ground and get a drink. Shouldn't be a problem. I know that sometimes they block off the away. Where the coaches.
I'd say it's highly unlikely.
Yeah,
I'd say so as well with the fixture itself.
Yeah, being an early kickoff and that, and I think the police obviously make decisions.
Hey, mate, when we play someone like Cardiff and they bring like 500 fans, they still fence the bloody thing off. So it's like, I mean, that's Cardiff bringing nobody. So,
but I did see when we played Sheffield Wednesday the other week, there was a few Sheffield Wednesday fans in the fan zone. I noticed, having a drink. So they must have sneaked in somewhere. But
it's probably ones who's come on the train, Ken, or something like that. Possibly, yeah. But if you're coming on the coach, I don't think you'll get in though. Ken, Julian Joachim.
Yeah, Julian Joachim was another one. Very fast player, wasn't he? Very quick player. Julian didn't play a lot of games for us. It wasn't here as long as obviously Dion Dublin was. But
Did he at Leicester?
He was a good player. He scored some good goals for us, Julian Joachim.
He was a decent player, wasn't he? He sort of reminds me of one of my colleagues in my Six-a-Side team, who's a Leicester fan, actually, for Borussia Teeth down in Brock. He reminds me of he plays like that, you see. That sort of like dangerous sort of player. And I actually saw him because he had a book and he came down to the brewery. Ken, I don't know if you were there. Right, he was getting his book signed, Julian Joachim. Yeah. So, he was all right for us. I remember seeing him a couple of times.
Let's get the footed both camps part 2 out, Ken. I mean, I've made a list here for you boys. Martin Fuller, Andy Impey, Jamie Scowcroft, Callum Doyle, David Bell, Frank Musa, Nathan Delfonso, George Thomas, Yakubu, David Stockdale, Matty James, James Madison. Do you want to talk about any of them, Ross? Any that's familiar to you? Obviously, James Madison would be a key one, wouldn't it? Callum Doyle.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick shout out to Andy Impey, only because I remember him being on a pay-as-you-play deal, and I'm not sure those things exist anymore. I just remember him. Mickey Adams used to bring him on for like 5 minutes, and he'd like run around like a headless chicken just so he got paid that week. So shout out to Andy Impey if you're watching. Who else? I mean, obviously I touched on James Scowcroft and a couple of others that he brought over. Obviously, I guess James Madison was a big one, a Coventry Academy kid. And, the unfortunate thing for us at the time was we were in League One at the point. And, again, we had to sell him for pittance to Norwich. And Norwich were then the team who benefited by selling him on to Leicester, from the Championship. So, and obviously he did brilliant for Leicester, got his move in the summer. And, until his injury, he was, tearing it up for Tottenham, wasn't he? So, no, very good player.
Yeah, agreed, Ken. Yakubu in that. I mean, how did they get on at Coventry? Obviously, feed the academy will score with a motto for Yakubu, Ken.
Yakubu, I don't think we see much of him, to be honest. When we did see him, he didn't do a lot.
No, he reminds me of another player who plays up front for my six-a-side team who doesn't move at all. He just stands up there and walks around at like half a mile an hour. Yes. Yeah, I remember he came on and he pulled his hamstring because he hadn't warmed up, and he just stood in defence like at the centre-back when he was supposed to be the person we were bringing on to score a goal. Dreadful.
I don't know how old he was when he came to us. He must have been getting on a bit when he came to us, wasn't he?
Yeah, 446 or something, I think. At least that's how he moved.
Far back end of his career, though, wasn't it, for you, Kubu?
I think it was, yeah.
We had him on loan from Everton, and he'd scored goals for Leicester, but we're just one of them with you, Kubu. You know, feed the academy was scoring. That's if you've seen him play, that is. But if you didn't get many games for your team, then probably not. Let's get on to team selection. I'll let you two go through your Coventry 11, and I'll let you go through your formation as well. I mean, many changes from the Middlesbrough game, do you reckon, Ken, from that 3-1 win?
I'm not sure what he's going to bring back, and I don't know how Ross thinks about this. I've got a funny feeling he will bring back Kitchen because he's been suspended. He got sent off, so he had a 3-game ban, and he's completed that now. So I don't know whether he'll bring him back because the defence have done well since he's been out, to be honest. So, you know,
I'll take that. Ben Burson Diaz, I'll take that. Happy days.
But I've got a funny feeling he will bring back Kitchen, and if he does, Kitchen and Thomas have been playing brilliant at the back, them two, as a partnership. So if there's going to be a change, I think that'll be the only one. How about you, Ross? Do you think there'll be many changes?
Yeah, no, I think that's the only one, and I think he will come back in. So I think it'll be, you know, Haji Wright on the left, Sakamoto, obviously Ellis Sims up top, and everything else will pick itself, I think. Just that one change, I'd imagine. Yeah,
I think so.
Leicester.
Now, you're missing a couple of players through. You're missing a couple of players through the African nations, are you, Leicester?
Yeah. Well, indeed, he's not gone, and neither is Iheanacho due to injury at the minute. So the only one who's really gone is Patson Daka, and then Harry Souttar's gone to the Asia Cup with Australia. Fatawu stayed, which they thought he would have gone to Ghana. I think the Leicester 11 picks itself, Kent, to be fair. Hermanson, Ricardo, James Justin, Vestergaard, Wout Fass, Harry Winks, Cassidy, Dewsbury Hall, Tom Cannon, Fatawu, and Mavadidi. I don't see us making changes at all, really, from our last league win. Cannon's obviously did quite well at Preston last season, did he, Ken? On loan. He's one who knows where the goal is in the Championship. He reminds me of a player, like, he can run the lines well, he can take his shots on well. He seems like a very good all-round player, but I think it's about just keeping him fit.
Yeah. Well, it's all about fitness, isn't it? If you keep your players fit, you've got a chance.
Talk to me, Jack, about Cannon, and like, do you see him, because obviously you're going to get promoted, do you see him as the guy to take the baton for Leicester, you know, leading the line next season? Because, you know, I speak to a lot of Leicester fans, and they say about Daka and they say about Iheanacho, they've had a fair chance and haven't necessarily done it. Vardy, as you said earlier, he's getting a bit older. Do you see Cannon as that guy to be, you know, the main number 9 leading the line?
Cannon's a good player, isn't he? You know, he's obviously got to test himself in the Premier League, and I don't think he did it for Everton. It's about proving yourself. With Vardy, you know, it's about walking the walk, in it. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard to fill his boots, in it, Ross? You know, to be honest, Vardy, you know, he's not really got many years left in him as he is a player. You know, it'd be sad. It'd be a sad day when he does retire. You know what I mean? Vardy, you know, they always say players are hard to replace, and I think that's something you're going to get with Jamie Vardy as a player. You know, Iheanacho's not a Jamie Vardy, Patson Daka's not a Jamie Vardy, you know, but, you know, when we talked about Riyad Mahrez, when we ended up selling him to Manchester City, you know, it's hard to find that right player to fill these players' boots. And Jamie Vardy's been with Leicester for years now, isn't it? You know what I mean? He's won what he's won, and you know, it's always going to be difficult to fill that sort of players' boots. And that's something with teams. I mean, you look at Man United, like Wayne Rooney when he ended up leaving, and they always had to go with like different strikers, didn't they? Like Falcao and players like that. And I think that's the same for Vardy, isn't it? Is a player, you know, he's going to be hard to replace, but you got to find that right player to do so. Hopefully, Tom Cannon can do that, but you know, maybe we'll bring in one more striker in the summer. But we'll have to wait and see. Callum is the real deal. Always injuries, though.
Well,
he is. Yeah, I agree.
He had a bad injury, didn't he? I mean, the other question for you, Jack, would be obviously at the other end of the pitch, where you've obviously been very, very good. You've only conceded, you know, like more than like 2 goals once all season. So looking at that defense, Fass, Cody, Vestergaard, how do you, you know, how do you look at the defense, you know, if you're getting promoted next season? Because obviously Vestergaard did struggle. He had his critics from Leicester fans last season in the Premier League, but he's obviously showing that there is a gap and he's obviously stepped up. What would you like to see Leicester do in the summer, you know, defensive wise?
I think if you look at it, you obviously Ricardo is proven he can do it in the Prem. Well, Fass, I think he'll do all right next season. Connor Cody, I think he'll be like you could probably say a bench swords player to help out the younger players who's coming through, who do come to the club. Callum Doyle, another one. If we can get him done, then he'll be a key player to the Enzo Maresca era in the Prem. Because when you look at Leicester, if we do get promoted this season, it's an if at the minute. It's not a certainty. Yeah. You know, this squad's going to be ripped apart again next season. And, you know, Enzo want to strengthen his squad as much as possible. Will Vestergaard cut it in the Premier League? That's the thing. You know, the Premier League's more quicker, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's more pacey. And you got the likes of Haaland and that in there, aren't you? You know, you don't really want to fancy Vestergaard's bloody pace against Haaland's pace, do you really? But I think that's something we'll take into account with the defence. He'll obviously look at it. Is it good enough for the Prem? Where do we need to replace and stuff like that? And obviously Vestergaard's out of contract in the summer, so potentially do they offer him a new deal, or do they say, okay, then you've got us back to the Premier League, maybe we bring somebody else in? Do you know what I mean? That young up and coming sort of player. Terence is on about too early to judge Ross regarding Vardy and Cannon. Give Vardy just one more year to bring Cannon on. I think that's what it's about, isn't it, Ken? If you've got that experienced player at the football club, then it's always good to have that sort of player to bring these other strikers on who do something for the football clubs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got Matty Godden as well. He's getting on a little bit now, and he's been getting a little bit of stick lately. But, you know, he come on against Oxford in the FA Cup, scored 2 goals. He's still with us. There's been rumours that he's going out on loan. But he's still with us at the moment, and I'd like to keep him, because he's a good player to, even if he's not starting every match, he hasn't been starting every game, even to come on, you know, because he's an experienced player and he knows where the goal is, so he can score goals. So, but he's not getting any younger, you know. At the end of the day, he's getting on a bit, but yeah, you know, you've got to. I think it's important to have a little bit of experience there. You can't have a team full of kids. You need a little bit of experience there to help you along.
It's always good to have them in the camp, isn't it, Ross? These experienced players to help the teams progress.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it is. And yeah, we've got a few of those in our squad as well. You know, Matty Godden, Carl McFadden, who started the season, was a rock, and he's not played ever since we went to back 4. He's not played a single minute. Even in the cup against Oxford last week, he didn't play. So yeah, I think, but it's what they bring off the pitch, isn't it, as well, in the squad. And I was speaking to that comment you just brought up there. That's something I've seen a lot from Leicester fans. A good friend of mine, Adam Watts, who's a Leicester fan, he said the exact same thing. He said about keeping Vardy, use him. Yeah. You know, if he's either going to retire or stay and help bring Cannon on and just be that sort of bit part player. So I think that seems, from your other comments that you've put up, that seems to be the general consensus. Yeah,
I think you can agree on that. Right, lads, the main point of the show is then score prediction. I mean, Ross, which way are you going with this one, mate? Obviously, family from Leicester and Coventry. No, I'm joking. You are a Coventry fan, I must admit. But Ross, which way do you see it going at the weekend, mate?
I think it's going to be a good game. I think there's going to be goals for both sides. Am I going to break my duck of finally seeing us win? I'm going to go in the middle. I think it's going to be another draw. I think I'm going to see another draw. I'm going to go 2-2, and I feel like it would 2-2. Yeah.
Ken, what about you, mate?
I'm going to go one better. I think there will be goals, but I think we're going to snatch it. It's going to be a 3-2 thriller. 3-2 to Cov.
A lot of fans have, said there's going to be a lot of goals in the game. I do see this one being a tough game. I think Coventry will frustrate us. They'll, I do think both teams will score in the game itself. It's a difficult game in it, of course. Coventry ain't no bloody lie down for us, are they, in this one? Let's be honest. They want to make it as difficult for Leicester as possible with the atmosphere and on the pitch itself. But I think we've got enough quality to beat you, Ken. I think we'll. I think we're going to have to work hard for the win, of course. But I think with Leicester, we win this game 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 to Leicester in this one.
Oh, 3-1. Interesting. Okay.
3-1. Wado's gone 2-2. Sakamoto is going to give your fullback nightmares. Interesting one there. 3-2 Leicester. And then 3-2, I think he's on about the bloody odds, Ken. Coventry 1, Leicester 2. Yes. Some say it'll be a close game. Right, Ken, thanks for coming on, mate. Talk to me. Give your channel a plug, mate. What you do at Sky Blues Fan TV.
Well, I'm just about to go back on, and ours is on now live, so I'm going to link up with them in a minute. Basically, we're on live on a Thursday and a Sunday. Everything about Coventry City, basically. It's a Coventry City channel, and then we obviously do a live stream on match days as well. Half an hour before the kickoff, so interviewing fans before the game. So it's all Coventry City. So you can find us on all the platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, and Spotify as well. So all the normal channels. Yeah,
thanks for coming on, Ken. I'd wish you all the best, mate, but I don't think we can do that for each other, can we?
No. All the best after Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, all the best, mate.
Thanks
cheers,
very
Ken.
much, mate. Cheers.
That was Ken. Ross, talk to me about Sky Blues Extra, mate. What you do on that platform?
Yes, Sky Blues Extra is the number one Coventry City podcast, available Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. Preview podcasts, and our big preview podcast is out, available now, and also in association with Dylan's Brewery and the Sky Blue Tavern, we host the Meet the Player official Coventry City events at the tavern as well. So we are part also of the TalkSport fan network. So yes, head over to the channel on social media. We post a lot of reels on our Twitter and all sorts, and as well as the podcast. So yeah, lots of content to find on the Sky Blues Extra page.
Cheers, coming on, Ross, mate. All the best, pal.
All the best, mate.
Cheers, mate. That was Ross and Ken. Great lads coming on, giving me all their thoughts on the M69 Derby. Massive game, Leicester fans. Let's go and make an atmosphere at the CBS Arena at the weekend. Then let's go and grab them crucial 3 points and keep building towards promotion and that. Obviously, that is the target. But a great chat with the lads. Guys, as always, if you've enjoyed the stream, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Great M69 Derby chat then. But now it's time for the lads to go out at the CBS Arena and go and take the fight to Coventry and go and do their business on the pitch. What's coming up on the final whistle then? So we've got the match day vlog, as I'll be heading to the CBS Arena for the M69 Derby on Saturday. Also go and check out the championship predictions for week 27 as we predicted the games for the upcoming weekend. Thank you to everybody who's watched. Yous don't need the points. Yeah, we do need the points, especially against you guys. But no, great chat. Big game at the weekend. Come on, the Foxes. Yeah, let's go. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Keep it at the final whistle, and come on, the boys. Hi all. Thank you for watching the final whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share, and subscribe to the channel.